need to be more against it, and two, I think it would sway society to limit technology usage like that. But, and it is scary that kids are addicted to their devices from the time that they're able to speak and able to hold a device. So I think that's a negative. But I do think it's going to become integrated in society. It's just going to become normal. It's going to be like the invention of the printing press. If you're able to read, kid will pick up a book and read rather than go out and play sports, you know. So if it's integrated into society like that and it doesn't have super terrible health effects, then, and like people are able to moderate it, I could see a future where kids are just super technologically savvy and it can be used for a lot of great things. So yeah, mixed feelings on it. If you're moderating it and controlling it, I think it could be great. But I am worried though for my kids' future.
It's fair. Excuse me, sorry. Have you, being a pre-med student, have you guys discussed the health effects of all of this? Or I don't know if you guys go into that or not.
Not too much. I mean, I research a little bit on my own time. They don't teach it in class. We actually use more devices now in class than ever before. Like we use AI for, one, we use it for diagnosis. Like if we're practicing a patient diagnostic test, we'll use AI as a resource. And I use it to read literature, understand figures in a paper. I use AI like all the time, and it's all open note in class. Everybody has a computer out, everybody has all the resources available, so it's constant device usage. And I use my phone AI too, so I use it, and not in a cheating way. I use it literally as a resource all the time. So I can only imagine how it's going to be in the future, like the integration of technology for just normal in-class stuff. Everybody has an iPad, everybody has a note-taking technology, and I think it's only going to get more from here.
You mentioned your parents were a little bit older. How would you, assuming you've heard stories from your parents from like their college experience, how would you describe the difference between their college experience and yours, specifically with like having smartphones and not? Like social aspect,
I mean,
school, really.
I think it was a completely different society. Like my dad is old enough that he had to use I think it's called an abacus or something. It's like a calculator type thing.
Really?
Yeah, like
okay.
He's very old, elderly man, and he had no access to technology. I think they had one computer in his entire university back then. Like it was before computers were a huge big thing. It was like they had one big computer and then maybe smaller ones that people could access through the university. But yeah, totally different society. Now with phones and technology, from my college experience, in class people don't even really have notebooks as much. They just use iPads and laptops, and it's affected friendships, relationships. People are on their phone texting all day, and I've had long distance relationships where we relied heavily on the phone to even be in contact with each other. If it was a different time, it would be writing letters and sending doves and whatnot. And now it's FaceTime and calls and texting. So I did that for several months, and I don't think I would have been able to have a relationship like that if it wasn't for a phone. So it has good pros and cons, but a lot of phone usage for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. Seems like a lot of pros in the school aspects, learning a lot more, but in a more timely manner, but a lot of cons in like social aspect, other than for distance.
And with school, like having a device right there while you're taking notes, it's a big distraction too. It's very easy. I mean, if you look around in class and you're not doing interactive activity, I guarantee you at least one person is on their phone not doing something school related. So,
Yeah.
big distraction that people didn't have before.
Definitely. So do you think we've seen the full effects of long-term phone usage already, or do you think it's just the beginning, since smartphones have really only been around since about 2008, 2009, when the popularity of them started to rise?
I think it's just the beginning. AI has a huge boom revolution coming, and it's made large advancements in the last year, so it's only going to go up from there. Technology, VR, anything like that, it's going to go up. But I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
Do you think overall we've moved forwards or backwards as a society?
I think forwards. I mean, there's a lot of good things you can do on your phone. There's easy open access to any information you could ever want, and that has pros and cons itself too. I think memory retention and learning has been affected by phones and technology. People can look it up right away, so they're less likely to go read it and like memorize it that way. There's more cramming of information, and like I think that could affect maybe future knowledge in the professional career. But as long as students are passing the same exams and showing that they can somewhat retain information, it might not be too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the easy access and spread of information. People might be more worldly too, but that can have pros and cons. I think our generation is also very desensitized to information and phone usage, and you get exposed to a lot of material from a young age. Everybody has seen everything that the phone has to offer, and I think that can have good and bad consequences. So
yeah, from like a social aspect, do you think it would have been more fun to go to college or grow up in the non-smartphone era? It may make school a little harder in some ways, or are you happy with being in college at this time?
I'm happy being in college at this time. Now that I've learned how to control my phone usage more, I think it doesn't affect me too much, or it doesn't affect me the way it used to. But I think in a pre-phone era, I wouldn't have had certain relationships that I've had. Like I wouldn't have been able to stay in contact as much with some friends that live far away. I would have been less likely to be in a long-term relationship that was long distance. But I also probably would have been more inclined to make friends in person and go out and join groups, because I wasn't getting my social interaction and human connection from my phone.
Yeah, that makes sense. And lastly, did any point at all during this interview did you have an urge to look at your phone?
Yeah, very minorly, but yeah, I think I started on my phone.
I believe so. That's okay.
I had a good fix, good shot of it before we started, so not too bad, but
Good shot of dopamine from your phone right before. It's good.
But I did look at it a couple times.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our interview. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.